environmentally just topics that maintain maximum sustainable, socially correct, and earth-friendly conversations. Good to have you here. Here are three big things you need to know right now. Number one, one of the big hitters at Fox News trash-talking President Trump and his team of misfit lawyers after the 2020 election went for Joe Biden. Sure sounds that way. Number two, is there yet another Chinese spy balloon on its way to the United States mainland? Yeah, it looks as that's possible. We'll take a look. And number three, $200 billion with no end in sight. $200 billion of your American taxpayer dollars dumped into a war in Ukraine that the majority of Americans do not want, with no end in sight and no plan that anyone has heard about much of any of it. Can someone please explain to me what we're doing in Ukraine? It's a serious question. What are we actually doing in Ukraine? What's the plan? They're not an ally, not by treaty and not by historic standards. They're a country that most people still cannot find on a map. And it's a place where we're getting in deeper and deeper every single day. It's like we're agitating the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin for the sport of it. And again, the question is why? Why are the Democrats and the Republicans all in on this one? Most Republicans, pretty much all the Democrats. The American people are still sick to their stomachs over the disgraceful exit from Afghanistan, ordered by the feeble commander-in-chief Joe Biden. The American people are tired of wars on the other side of the world, draining our resources. Oh, we have so many things to do and so much work to do at home. They hear we're now paying for pensions, welfare programs for the Ukrainian citizens, while our own southern border remains wide open and the illegals flow in by the millions. Maybe Joe Biden and his secret mission to appear in Kyiv yesterday would have more impact if it actually looked like there was a war going on. Seriously, go find footage of this terrible war. You won't find much. Why is that? In fact, I saw reports yesterday of people that are monitoring live feeds out of Ukraine. Numerous cameras. Nothing going on. Finally, an air raid siren went off when Joe Biden was there. For show. When we were fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan, certainly in the early days, the war footage was everywhere. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for months on end. But that's not the case with Ukraine. Oh, we hear about how awful it is and that Russia must be punished for invading Ukraine. We simply must send hundreds of billions of dollars, but we never hear about a plan or a strategy or anything resembling a coherent approach by our side. And you know what? We never really hear about how all that money is being spent or how it benefits you or me. You know why? That's because it doesn't. It is yet another colossal waste of American treasure in some foreign land for some other reason. How do we define winning seems to have been forgotten in the conversation again by the warmongers on all sides. Democrats and Republicans alike, they just keep beating the drums of war and have turned a deaf ear to the concerns of this nation, to you and to me and to everyone else. I've rejected the war in Ukraine from day one. And Americans now coming around to my side in huge numbers. Listen to the latest polling. Go.
You know, there was an AP NORC poll that just came out that showed that the level of support for providing security assistance to Ukraine has dropped from about 60% last year to just 48%. And although some House Republicans have started grumbling about the need to no longer give a blank check to Ukraine, we're also starting to see Republican leadership try to make the case that that is a minority opinion and does not broadly represent the party, including Michael McCall, the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, a Republican, over the weekend, saying it's time to increase supports.
Which is wrong. Which is wrong. We're $31.5 trillion in debt. We're shipping $200 billion, $300 billion, $400 billion. For what? For what? Nobody can answer that question. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked Joe Biden for showing up with more money and a whole stack of blank checks. Watch this.
Good morning to everybody. Today we host President Biden. That is so important signal for us, and all we are proud of it. Thank you very much for coming, Mr. President. That is a huge moment of supporting of the Ukraine. And what can I say? I really appreciate that President Biden, American society, being from the very beginning of this tragedy, from the very beginning of this full-scale war, from the first day being together with us. First phone call of support was from White House to Ukraine. And thank you for your leadership. Thanks bipartisan support. Thanks Congress. I think that is a historical moment for.
And does that look like, I mean, I'm glad that Zelensky showed up in his best black khakis and his best black shirt, shows up just, that's how you meet a head of state. Does it look like either one of those clowns is in any danger? They're supposed to be in this war-ravaged nation, in a war zone. Sorry, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing any level of concern. By the way, the United States gave Russia a call ahead of him. By the way, Joe's going to be in Kyiv, so don't bomb Kyiv while we're there. Joe Biden keeps promising to keep the money flowing, even though we have not seen a plan of what we're actually doing in Ukraine or what winning actually looks like. We have no plan at all except to keep shoveling money to them. That's apparently true. Listen to this part.
Putin thought Ukraine was weak and the West was divided. As you know, Mr. President, I said to you in the beginning, he's counting on us not sticking together. He was counting on the inability to keep NATO united. He was counting on us not to be able to bring in others on the side of Ukraine. He thought he could outlast us. I don't think he's thinking that right now. God knows what he's thinking, but I don't think he's thinking that. But he's just been playing wrong.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Vladimir Putin is there to stay, apparently. Joe Biden's going to continue to shovel money. We're going to continue to play games along as well. All of it. Oh, here's one more for you. Ursula von der Leyen. Another villain name you cannot get away with in Hollywood because it's just too unbelievable. Ursula von der Leyen says Russia is getting help. She's the president of the EU, by the way. Says Russia is getting help from China in the war with Ukraine. That would be a problem. Listen.
The Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi spoke. Did you get any sense from his speech that China is listening to Europe's message not to support Russia in this war?
Well, we've seen that China and Russia signed an unlimited partnership. And I think we need more proof and more action to see that China is not supporting Russia. So far, we see the opposite.
Yeah. So now we've got China involved, and we keep provoking. What's the plan again, Mr. President? Plan. Go to the beach. I'll be right back.